Hello and welcome to Santosha Rose. My name's Sam and the theme for today's practice is going to be balance. I'm excited to share it with you. See you on the mat. We're going to start our practice today sitting in an upright seated position. It's called staff pose. So legs stretched out in front, grounding down through the sitting bones and lifting up through the spine. So imagining that you're being lifted up by that invisible cord. We're going to engage through the legs. Ideally, the legs would be straight. If you need a little bit of a bend, that's no problem. A little bit of a gap between the legs, engaging, and we're going to pull the toes back towards the face. So you can rest your hands just on top of your thighs. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here. So lifting up through the spine, feeling that lovely straight spine, engaging, bringing the toes back. And it's a little bit more challenging than it looks, this posture. So taking that yogic breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Fabulous, okay. And keep the legs exactly as they are, lifting the arms up. I'm going to take some circles of the wrists. So a couple of things to check in on here. I'm going to go a little bit slower than maybe your instinct is to go. We're not trying to do the most circles that we can fit in, really allowing yourself to feel that rotation. Check in and see, are you still lifting up through the spine, or have you sort of collapsed in the spine as your arms have come up? Taking the circles in the other direction. And see if you can keep your arms as still as possible. So it's just the wrists and the hands that are moving. Quite often the rest of the arms want to get involved. And then bringing the hands back down onto the thighs. I'm going to point the toes away, stretching out through the ankles, and then flexing the toes up, bringing them towards your face. I'm going to sync this up with the breath. So inhaling, pointing the toes away. Exhaling, bringing the toes in towards the face. And carrying on with that movement in time to your own breath. And checking in, have you still got that lovely straight spine? And we're going to bring some circles into the ankles now. And again, can you keep your legs completely still? So we're really isolating the movement is just in those ankle joints. Imagining you're drawing big circles with your big toe. And then taking those circles in the other direction, keeping that sense of lift up through the spine. Fabulous, okay. You're going to bring the right knee in, give it a little bit of a squeeze, then placing the right foot down, sort of in line with the left knee, have a hand width apart, so not squeezing it in too tightly. I'm going to keep the engagement through the left leg, so ideally straight, if not with that little bend, pulling the left toes in towards the face. I'm going to take the right hand behind, fingers pointing towards your hips. I'm going to inhale, reaching the left arm up, feeling that engagement, that sense of lift all the way up through the spine, reaching up. You can bring your gaze to look at the left fingertips. And then exhaling, we're going to twist around to the right hand side, just tucking the knee into the crook of that left elbow. We can use the breath here to help with the twist. So inhaling, lengthening through the spine, exhaling, finding that twist. And you can do that in time to your own breath. Couple more. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and twist, bringing your gaze to look over the right shoulder. And then coming back to center, bringing the spine back into neutral. I'm going to take the right knee out to the side, so bringing the foot in towards the knee, opening up in the hips here. I'm going to reach both arms coming up towards the ceiling, palms facing in towards each other, looking into that gap between the hands. And then we're going to fold forward, and it's an up and over momentum. So folding forward down that left leg, and you might get to your knee, your shin. You might be able to reach all the way forward and over your foot. Just see what your body wants to do today. And again, if you need to have a little bend in that knee, that's no problem at all. And we're going to use the breath again here. So inhale, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, finding that fold forward, finding that length. The intention here is chin towards shin. So that's probably quite difficult for most of us, but that's the intention. So you're really feeling that lengthening through the back, folding over the left leg. And then we're going to bring hands coming slowly up the left leg, uncurling the back. And then using your hand, you're going to bring your right knee back up, facing towards the ceiling first, and then straightening that leg out and just take a little shake. So up and down with the knees, side to side. Fabulous. Okay, you're going to bend the left knee in this time, giving it that little squeeze, and then placing it down next to the right knee with that hand width apart. And we're going to check this engagement again. So lifting up through the spine, keeping that sense of lift, engaging through the right leg, bringing the right toes back. So this side of us is still involved, still engaged. I'm going to take the left hand behind, pointing the fingers towards the hip, keeping that sense of lift up through the spine, and then inhaling, reaching the right arm up to the ceiling, feeling that length in the spine, and then exhaling, we're going to twist to the left, taking the knee into the crook of the right elbow. And you can just rest the hand on the thigh. I'm going to use the breath here again. So inhaling up, exhaling, finding that little bit more twist. Inhaling, growing up through the spine, exhaling, twist. And then coming back to center, I'm going to take this left leg out to the side, bringing the left foot in towards the knee. Inhaling, both arms coming up this time, reaching your arms up, following that gaze in between the hands, and then exhaling, we're going to fold forward over the right leg. And again, wherever you get to on this leg is absolutely fine. We all have different bodies. You might find if you do this video more often that with time, you're working down this leg, being able to stretch a little bit more. And using the breath here, so inhaling, lengthening the spine, exhaling, folding forward. And then inhaling, curving up, bringing the hands up the right leg. And I'm going to use a hand to lift the left knee up to the ceiling first, and straightening that leg out. I'm going to do a little bit of a shake up and down, side to side. Okay, fabulous. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. It's coming into this butterfly posture. And decide where this feels good. So you might want to have your feet quite far ahead of you. You might feel comfortable to bring them a little bit closer into your body. Just experiment with that and see what feels good for your body today. Going to squeeze the feet together, so feeling that sense that the feet are coming together, but then we're going to use muscles in our legs, in our core, to have the knees coming apart. So feet together and knees apart, drawing, opening up in the hip flex there. And keeping that nice lift through the spine. So straight spine, legs coming down towards the floor, but the intention is to go left to right, separating them up. Okay, fabulous. Okay, relaxing a little bit in the legs. Gonna do our first balancing posture for the sequence today. It's gonna come a little bit back onto your sitting bones and then lifting the feet up. So that actually is a little bit tricky if you've never done it before. So have a play with that, see what that feels like. And it might be that actually this is definitely enough balancing for you today. And you can stay there with the feet just hovering a little bit off the floor. If it feels like it's right for your body, over time we're going to work to lift the feet up so that the feet are coming level with your heart. And you want the feet to be pressing in towards each other here. So it's an engaged posture again. And we're going to balance. And sometimes the mind is as much of a challenge for balancing as the body is. See if you can have a lightness here. You don't need to be tensing and trying to balance. Just see if you can allow the body to balance. And then slowly with control, bringing the legs back down. And we're going to just stretch a little bit more in the hips here. So hands can be on the tops of the feet, or maybe coming to your ankles. We're going to use the elbows just in the inner thighs to gently open up in the hips. And make sure this is nice and gentle. So this isn't about like forcing anything or pushing. Just very gently easing the hips apart. Bringing the legs coming down towards the floor. And then releasing the hands, and take the hands onto the outside of the legs and use the hands to bring the knees together. And then crossing over at the ankles, you're going to reach forward and we're going to come to a tabletop position. So taking a moment here to check your alignment. Shoulders straight line over the wrists. Hips in a straight line over the knees. Knees hip width apart or a little bit wider, and feet in a nice parallel line. And we're going to start here with some cat-cow postures. So bringing the tummy down, lifting the head up, arching through the back into your cow. And then pressing through the hands, you're going to pull, curving the back, pulling the navel in towards the spine, bringing the head down towards the chest. And we're going to sync up with the breath for this movement. So inhaling, bringing the tummy down, lifting the head up, and exhaling, lifting up, curling the spine, pressing through the hands. And doing a couple more of those in time to your own breath. Doing the movement in time to the breath is really good at stopping us from rushing through the postures. There is no prize for fitting in the most postures into a yoga sequence. Tummy down, head up. And then coming back to a neutral position, we're going to bring the left shoulder and the left hip in towards each other and taking the gaze to look at the left foot. So contracting on the left hand side, expanding on the right hand side. Often that's what balance is about. Interplay of two different forces. And coming back into the neutral position, and then we're going to go over to the right. Squeezing, contracting through the right side body, expanding through the left side body. And then coming back into neutral. I'm going to reach the right arm in front as if you were shaking somebody's hand. So thumb up, little finger down. And then taking the left foot behind and feeling that lovely stretch in a nice straight line from your fingers all the way through to your toes. Going to inhale, reaching away, make your body as long as you possibly can. And then exhale, bringing the knee and elbow into touch underneath your body. Gonna inhale, reaching away again. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reaching away, and you can use the back foot that's on the floor to help with the balance, pressing that foot into the floor. And then elbow to knee. And this time we're going to hold it here. So bringing the leg in as close into your body as you can. We're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, you're doing amazingly, and 1. Brilliant. Reaching out one more time on this side. Really stretching through, and then slowly with control bring the hand and knee back down, and just taking a cycle of breath here, feeling the differences in the two sides of your body, just noticing that. Now you're going to balance that out now, so lifting the left arm in front, thumb facing up, little finger down, and then we're going to take the right leg back, left arm, right leg. And feeling that sense of lift, like you're trying to stretch them away from each other. Inhale, stretching as much as you can. On the exhale, we're going to bring the elbow and the knee together underneath the body. And inhaling, stretching out again. Exhaling, elbow to knee. And doing these movements mindfully with control. Inhale, stretching out. Exhaling, elbow to knee underneath the body. And we're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, don't worry if you're shaking, 2, doing great, and 1, reaching out again, stretching the arm and leg away, and then slowly with control bringing the hands and the knee back down onto the mat. Fabulous. Okay, I'm going to lift the left leg, coming up, keeping the knee bent, lifting it up, keeping that right angle in the knee. And this might feel like that's enough. If that's true, engaging through your core, balancing through that right leg that's on the floor. If you want to, you can lift the right hand up, take the right hand behind and take hold of your foot, and then press the foot into the hand so you're opening up in the shoulder as well. Feeling that resistance of the foot pressing against the hand, and then releasing the hand, releasing the foot, bringing both back down to the floor. And taking a cycle of breath here. And then engaging through the tummy muscles, we're going to lift the right leg up this time. Keeping that nice bend in the knee, tiger pose. And if it feels good for your body, you can bring the left hand round, taking hold of the top of your foot, and again, pressing the foot into the hand, feeling that opening up in the left shoulder. And breathing here, using that back foot on the floor to support with balance. And then releasing the hand, bring the hand and the knee back down. And we're going to take the hips back into an extended child's pose. So reaching the arms in front. And maybe bringing your head down to the mat. If your head doesn't reach, you can make a little pillow with your hands or stack fists one on top of the other. Do whatever you need to do to make this position feel restful and like you're giving your body a couple of breaths of resting after all of that balancing. And now reaching the arms out in front of you if they're not already there. You're going to lift up, tuck the toes underneath, and send your hips up into a downward facing dog. And maybe have some gentle movement here. So maybe pedaling, straightening and bending one leg then the other. Keeping it nice and soft in this first downward dog of the practice. And remembering to have those nice wide fingers planted into the floor. And the intention is to lift the hips up. So you can come up onto your tiptoes, bend your knees a little bit, and then send the hips up. Feeling that real upward momentum over time. You might work to straighten the legs and bring the heels to the floor. But that can be over time. It doesn't need to be today. And then we're going to bring the feet together. Grounding down through the left foot. You're going to lift the right leg in a straight line up to the ceiling. Three-legged dog. Using the hands and that standing foot to balance. Engaging through the core. Stretching your foot away. Making your leg as long as you possibly can. And then we're going to bend that knee coming in. And it's going to step between the hands. So that might happen in one movement. It might take a little bit of shuffling. And that's fine. Going to bring the left knee down to the floor. Untucking the left toe. And reach the arms up, lifting the gaze in between the hands. And feel that real sense of extension through your side body, lifting up. And then bringing the hands down by the sides. You're going to open up in the shoulders, in the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together behind your back. With palms facing forward and just raise the gaze up to that gap between the ceiling and the wall. And take a couple of cycles of breath here. Bringing the hands down to frame your front foot. You're going to tuck the back toes under, lift the left knee up and take the right foot back into downward facing dog. And maybe noticing if this downward dog feels any different to the other one. You can still pedal through the legs if that feels good. Keeping a little bit of movement. You might feel you quite want to have some stillness in this one. So check in with your body. See what your body wants to do. And then we're going to bring the feet together, grounding down this time through the right foot, lifting the left leg up to the ceiling. And again, feeling that sense of stretch, of extension, balancing, three-legged dog. And then you're going to bend that left knee in and bring it between the two hands. Bring the right knee down, untuck the right toe, and we're going to lift up. Lifting the gaze between the hands, feeling that real sense of stretch all the way through the side of the body. And you can use that back foot for balance, raising the gaze. And now bringing your hands down by your sides. And we're going to open up through the shoulders, through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together behind your back. And just allowing your gaze to settle where the wall meets the ceiling in front. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here. And then bringing the hands down to frame your front foot. I'm going to tuck the back toe, lift the back knee off the floor, and bringing the left foot back, this time into plank. So nice wide fingers, checking the alignment here. So you want your shoulders in a straight line over your wrists, straight line going down from your head into your heels. And we're going to hold this posture for 5, 4, 3, keep going, you're doing really well. 2, don't worry if you're shaking a little bit. And 1, we're going to come down in a nice straight line. See if you can keep that straight line, bringing yourself down onto your stomach. You're going to take the hands and place them in front of the head, one hand on top of the other, sending the elbows out wide. Bring your head down to rest on your 2 hands. Now we're just going to breathe here for a couple of breaths. Allowing yourself to feel the support of the earth underneath you. Noticing what it feels like to breathe lying on your tummy. And just noticing how your body's feeling after that movement, those balances. Engaging through all of those muscles. Can you just let those muscles relax here? And just breathe. And then bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, going to tuck the toes, either come up through the knees or coming back up through plank in a nice straight line. We're going to send the hips up to the ceiling, back into downward facing dog. Maybe bringing the toes towards each other in this downward facing dog. So you've got that inward rotation of your inner thighs. Feeling that same length of lift up through the hips. And then bringing the feet together again. I'm going to plant down through the left leg, bringing the right leg up in a nice straight line. And stepping that foot forward, bending the knee. And this time we're going to keep the knee lifted at the back and turning the left foot to 45 degrees. So you've got that back left foot is going to be flat on the floor at an angle of 45 degrees. Keeping a nice bend in this front leg, we're going to come up, hands on the waist. And you want your hips to be facing towards the front of your mat here. So warrior 1 posture. Maybe lifting the arms up, reaching up to the ceiling, feeling that strength of the warrior. Very strong posture here. Bring the hands back down onto the waist. You're going to come up onto your back toe, keeping the bend in the front leg. You're going to transfer the weight onto your front leg. So you might be able to do it in one push. You might do a couple of steps coming up. Then we're going to lift that back leg up just as much as it feels right for your body. So the final posture is to have a straight line going from your head all the way to the tip of the toe that runs parallel to the floor. But if that doesn't feel quite right for your body today, maybe keeping the leg down, the chest lifted a little bit. And balancing is always a challenge. See if you can keep a lightness to it. You don't have to be serious when we're balancing. Finding that gaze point on the floor in front of you and allowing your gaze to rest there. Then we're going to bend through that standing leg a little bit, slowly bringing the back foot down onto the mat, and then bringing both feet to face towards the long end of your mat, so feet facing sideways on. We're going to inhale, lifting up through the crown of the head, feeling that lovely straight spine, and then exhale, we're going to fold forward, so keeping your spine completely straight, folding forward, and then maybe bringing the hands down towards the floor. If the hands don't reach the floor, that's no problem. That's the intention, that we're going to try and get them there over time. If the hands do come to the floor, you want a straight line going from the tips of your toes across your fingertips and to the other toes. And the intention for this posture is for the head to come towards the floor. So we can use the breath again here, inhaling, lengthening the spine, exhaling, finding that fold forward. Inhaling, lengthen, exhale, fold a little bit more. You can use your own breath here to lengthen and find that fold. And then bringing the hands back onto the waist, engaging through your core muscles. We're going to come back up to standing, slowly and with control. And then we're going to turn the feet. So left foot turning towards the short edge of your mat, making that 45-degree angle in the right foot, and then we're going to bend through that front left leg, lifting up, keeping that sense of lift through the spine, grounding down through the back foot, so pressing the outer edge of your back foot into the mat. Maybe lifting the arms up, warrior one. And then bringing the hands back to the waist. I'm going to come up onto the back toe, keeping that bend through the left leg as you bring the right foot up off the floor, taking the balance into that front leg, left leg, and lifting the back leg so you have a straight line going from the tip of your head to the tips of your toe. And finding a gaze point on the floor in front of you, a drishti, something that's not moving, that can become the focus for your attention. And if you're wobbling quite a lot, don't worry, that's completely normal. I'm wobbling loads. And then we're going to bend a little bit through that standing leg, slowly with control, bringing the back foot down. And then again, turning both legs facing towards the long end of the mat, bringing the hands to a clasp position behind your back. So feeling that sense of opening in the chest, in the shoulders. Imagine that you're trying to squeeze your shoulder blades together. And we're going to forward fold again. So keeping a straight back, folding forward, squeezing the shoulder blades in towards each other. And again, bringing the head in the general direction of the floor. This is the kind of posture that over time and with more practice will feel easier. You'll feel like there's a little bit more flexibility. Maybe over time we might all get our heads to the floor. Using that inhale to lengthen, that exhale to find that fold. And then engaging through the tummy muscles, we're going to bring ourselves back up slowly with control. And then coming up onto the toes, bring the heels in. And then on the heels, bring the toes in. Just going to walk, heels and toes coming towards each other. Until they're just a little bit wider than hip width apart. And we're going to bring the hands into a prayer position in front of the chest. We're going to come down through a yogi squat. So feet facing a little bit out, and then making sure as you bend your knees that your knees track over your feet, so don't bring the knees in towards each other. And using that strength in the legs to come down slowly. You might find that your heels come up off the floor, that's no problem. And come all the way down to the deepest squat that you can do. Maybe bringing the hands together, you might be able to get your arms into the insides of your upper thighs, insides of your knees, sorry. And then just maybe pressing, opening up in the hips again. I'm going to stay here for one more cycle of breath, doing brilliantly. And then releasing with the hands, we're going to bring the hands behind you. Bring yourself down into a sitting position with your feet in front. We're going to take the hands behind, fingers facing in towards your hips and lifting up through the spine here, so still having that lovely straight spine. And then we're going to lift the feet up off the floor, so balancing on your sitting bones again. And this might feel like it's absolutely enough for you, and you can stay here, engaging through the core, balancing here. If you want a little bit more challenge, bring the legs up so that they're parallel to the mat. And if you want even more challenge, you can let go, reaching the hands towards the feet. And we're going to hold it wherever you are for 5, 4, 3, shaking's good, 2, and 1. Bringing the feet down, bringing the hands back down behind. I'm going to stretch out the legs. Both legs straight. Going to engage, pushing the hips up towards the ceiling, coming up into a reverse plank. Feeling that straight line going from your shoulders down to the tips of your toes, lifting up through the hips. And then slowly lowering down. And bringing the feet back in again. You do one more of those boat postures. So maybe hovering the feet just off the ground here. Maybe lifting up so that you're parallel to the floor, or lifting up with your arms as well. And we're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, keep smiling, 2, and 1. Bringing the knees in, wrap the arms around the legs, having a nice squeeze in here. And then we're going to come to a cross-legged seated position. So lifting up through the spine, hands just resting onto the knees. And trying to have that sense of lift through the spine, but relaxation down through the shoulders. And we're going to inhale, reaching the arms up to the ceiling, following the gaze, looking between your hands. And exhaling, we're going to twist, bringing the left hand to the right knee and the right hand behind. And using the breath to twist here. Inhale, lengthening up. Exhale, finding that little bit more twist. Doing that another time with your cycle of breath. And then we're going to inhale, coming back to the center, reaching up. Exhale, twisting to the left hand side, right hand to left knee, left hand coming behind. Inhale, lengthening up through the spine. Exhale, finding that twist. And using your breath here to inhale and to twist. And then inhale, we're going to reach the arms back up. This is the last stretching posture of the whole practice today, so really make it count. Lifting up, reaching, trying to touch the ceiling with your fingertips, and then slowly bringing the hands back down, coming down to the sides, and maybe taking a couple of nice Slow shoulder rotations coming backwards. Should feel really, really nice. And 2, and then forwards. And 2. Amazing work today, everyone. We're going to bring the hands into a prayer position in front of the chest. We're going to close off the practice, saying together, Namaste. Thanks so much for sharing your practice with me today. If you enjoyed it, do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know how you found it in the comments below. See you again soon.